Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Narayan Rao Kovur. In this video, we will understand the details of World Trade Organization and the guiding principles of World Trade Organization. World Trade Organization is an international body that regulates global trade and ensures that ensures that trade between countries is fair, transparent, and predictable. This is called World Trade Organization. It was established on 1st January 1995. The headquarters is Geneva in Switzerland. The present member countries is 164. It is the successor of General Agreement on Tariff and Trade. So now let us examine what is the World Trade Organization and what are the guiding principles. The World Trade Organization is an international body that regulates global trade and ensures that trade between countries is fair, transparent, and predictable. There is no any discrimination. Now, the guiding principles of World Trade Organization are trade without discrimination, trade without discrimination, no discrimination. That is MFN clause, that is MFN principle. A country should not discriminate between its trade partners. A country should not discriminate between its trade partners. If a country gives a special advantage such as lower customs duty or market access to one country, the same benefits will be applicable to all the member countries in the World Trade Organization. This is called no discrimination. Next. So relevant article is GATT article number 1. Relevant article is General Agreement on Tariff and Trade, article number 1 explains MFN clause. Next. So MFN also handled slightly in other agreements also. That is GATT's General Agreement on Trade in Services. That is article number 2. And TRIPS, Trade Related Intellectual Property Rights. That is article number 4. So article number 2 explains GATS. Article number 4 explains TRIPS. So these are the MFN clause handled in other agreements also slightly. Next. Exceptions to MFN clause. Exceptions to most favored nation clause. One is free trade agreements. Free trade agreements are exempted, are accepted. Second, special preference to developing countries. Third one is anti-dumping duties. These three are exceptions to most favored nation principle. What is the meaning of anti-dumping duties? A special import duty imposed on goods sold at below normal price that can be imported or exported to protect the domestic industries from unfair competition. This is called anti-dumping duties. A special import duty imposed on goods sold below normal price and to protect the domestic industries from unfair competition is known as anti-dumping duties. Next, second one is national treatment principle. National treatment principle, that is called NTP. Foreign goods, services, intellectual properties must be treated the same as domestic ones. Foreign goods, foreign services, intellectual properties, that must be treated the same as domestic ones. Next, national treatment principle applies only after a product or service enters the market. When the product or service enters the market, then only national treatment principle applies. Next, charging customs duty on imports is not a violation of NTP. Charging customs duty on imports is not a violation of NTP, National Treatment Principle. So, regarding articles, GATT article number 3, GATS article number 17, TRIPS article number 3. So, article number 3 explains in GATT regarding NTP. Article number 17 in GATS explains NTP. Article number 3 in TRIPS that explains NTP. So here, what is customs duty? What is customs duty? A tax levied by the government on imported or exported goods in order to increase the revenue and to protect the domestic industries. That is called customs duty. Next, third one is free trade. Third one is free trade. The World Trade Organization encourages countries to gradually reduce trade barriers such as tariffs and restrictions. So, the World Trade Organization encourages countries to gradually reduce trade barriers such as tariffs and restrictions. A tariff is a tax imposed by the government on imported or exported goods, so to regulate global trade and protect the domestic industries. That is called tariff. And this gradual process is called progressive liberalization. Very, very important. The World Trade Organization encourages the countries to gradually reduce trade barriers such as tariffs and restrictions. This gradual process is called progressive liberalization. So, developing countries are given longer time and flexibility to implement World Trade Organization obligations. Particularly in this aspect, there are some concessions, there are some flexibility, and there are some longer time given to developing countries. So developing countries are given longer time and flexibility to implement World Trade Organization obligations. Next, fourth one, predictability through binding and transparency. Predictability through binding and transparency. Binding of tariff means fixing maximum limit. Fixing maximum limit, that is ceiling on customs duty. That is called binding of tariffs. So binding of tariffs means fixing maximum limit or ceiling on customs duty. That is called binding of tariffs. Generally, developing countries, actual tariff is less than bound tariff. In less developed countries or developing countries, actual tariff is less than bound tariff. Whereas in developed countries, actual tariff is equal to bound tariff. Right. What are the benefits? So, what are the benefits from the predictability through binding and transparency, or provides certainty to traders and investors? Certainty means security. Provides security or certainty to traders and investors. Second one, discourages quotas and quantitative restrictions. It discourages quotas and quantitative restrictions. Quotas means physical limit on the quantity of goods imposed by the government that can be imported or exported to protect the domestic industries. That is called quotas. Discourages quotas and quantitative restrictions. Next, another one is makes trade rules clear and transparent. It makes the trade rules very clear and transparent. Next, so TPRM. So it regularly reviews national trade policies and improves transparency. It regularly TPRM it regularly reviews national trade policies and improves transparency at both domestic level as well as international level. This is called TPRM. Review mechanism. Trade policy review mechanism. Trade policy review mechanism. Trade policy review mechanism regularly reviews national trade policies and it improves the transparency at both domestic level as well as international level. Next, fifth one, encouraging development and economic reforms. Fifth one is encouraging development and economic reforms. More than 3/4 of the World Trade Organization member countries are developing countries or transitional economies. More than 3/4 of the World Trade Organization member countries are developing economies or transitional economies. These countries played an active role in Uruguay round, also Doha round. These developing countries or transitional countries played an active role in both Uruguay round and also Doha round. They are given more time to implement World Trade Organization agreements. Next, recently developed countries are allowing duty free and quota free imports from least developed countries. Next, this is the fifth one. Next, another one is other principles of World Trade Organization. Other principles of World Trade Organization. One is general prohibition of quantitative restrictions. Quantitative restrictions are prohibited. A general prohibition of quantitative restrictions. Second one, promotion of greater competition. Promotion of greater competition. Third one is tariffs accepted as legitimate projection tools. tariffs accepted as a legitimate projection tools. Fourth one is transparency in decision making. Transparency in decision making. Next, improved market access. Improved market access. And sixth one, effective and reliable dispute settlement mechanism. Effective and reliable dispute settlement mechanism in the World Trade Organization to settle the dispute between the countries or between member countries in the World Trade Organization. So, thank you. So, like, share, subscribe, and comment.